drugs and sadness make rappers in minutes. People in the school.
Was it New Year's 2016? I just went to a pawn shop randomly, and I saw a camera, and it didn't have anything else with it, like a lens or anything. So prior to that, maybe like 2 months before, I was already like following this one guy that was a photographer in Dallas, and I was seeing how he was just partying and just taking pictures basically just as his main job. So I was like, all right, I might add that to the graphic designing that I already do. And then plus, like, I went to college for graphic designing my sophomore year. My freshman year, I was like full on doing like automotive restoration, like working on cars. Because in high school, junior and senior year, I was at this vocational school.
Was it in Raytown?
Yep.
At
Herndon.
Herndon. I went there for construction.
Oh, you went to Herndon?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
So I was just working on cars, doing everything from like interior work to engines, taking them out, like taking.
So I'm
them
guessing
apart,
you
putting
didn't
them
like
together
it.
and everything. Yeah, like I did a lot automotive, and then what got me into the graphic design was I saw the Steve Jobs movie with Ashton Kutcher.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, after that movie, I was like, I have to get into like computers and like back into art, because I just love art and everything like that. So I went back to school sophomore year, and then junior year after the first semester, I got kicked out of college. So I was like, I went to college basically like didn't know anybody, which I wanted. And then by the second semester, I was just like a crazy party kid.
Really?
Yeah.
That was me.
You want to go into that? Why'd you get kicked out?
I got kicked. Basically, I would have had a 4.0 if I would have done like my assignments, basically. Because every time I would go out, I just, like my roommates and everything would basically do all their work, like as soon as we get back in from the clubs and everything, and I'd be the only one.
What college was this?
Room. It was McPherson College in McPherson, Kansas. It's like 3 hours from here. Yeah.
So was there nothing to do in the city
No,
but
it's
party?
super small.
Okay.
And then it's another super small college, Central College, that's literally down the street, and it's basically like you make your own fun, and that's how I mostly got in trouble with like the dean and everything. Because during like assemblies and everything, I would make this hashtag, because they called them convos. So I made this hashtag convo, and like I got everybody on it, and I was just clowning the whole time.
You were clowning the dean?
The whole and I don't even know like where it came from, because I grew up, I never went to parties or anything, and until I got there, I was like, I'm just about to be a different person.
Oh yeah, college will do that to you.
Yeah.
But you gave us kind of a lot to go into from that. I'm kind of going to go back to the beginning when you said you bought the camera for New Year's. Like what type of camera was it?
It was a Canon Rebel.
Like a T3i or something?
It was actually an XTI.
XTI?
Yeah, so it didn't have like a display screen or anything. It was just basically almost like a power shot. It's like you have to figure out what setting it is, take the picture, look at the picture, then figure out like from there. Just
so
to get,
would
like,
you not be able to
exposure.
look at the picture until you got home and put it on the computer?
It would pop up, but by that time, like I didn't know anything about it. It took me a good 6 months just to get like figure out like exposure.
Yeah.
But like I was heavy on YouTube 24/7, so I was like, and it was the only thing I had to do, because like once I got kicked out, I was like super discouraged. I was like, oh man, I'm not even gonna go back to college. So I'm gonna work this year. And then 2016, when I got the camera, I was like, all right, I know some stuff. Let me just get it and then go hands on with it, and then just try to figure it out.
What was going on New Year's that made you decide that you needed a camera for it? Just partying?
I did go to a party that New Year's, and I just happened to just go to the pawn shop just looking for like headphones and like laptops and stuff like that, and I saw like the display case right there as soon as I walked in. I saw the camera. I was like, now I don't have to go on eBay. Like I can get it straight from the source right here. and I just did that.
Did you
came
negotiate?
back.
Or
Yeah,
did you just buy it full price?
I just bought it full price. I didn't know
Oh, yeah.
anything about negotiating. I
Yeah.
just bought it full price. It didn't come with nothing. So
Yeah.
I was like, let me just go ahead and drop that 300 on it.
Dang, 300.
I don't know why.
Well,
but
I guess my first camera was a T3i,
Mhm.
and that was really expensive at the time. Like, I didn't know anything about cameras. T3i is not even like, to be honest, it's not like an amazing camera, but
Yeah.
yeah.
How did you like get into that? Was it just your dad? Because your dad's a photographer. I was talking to you, Mike.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. In high school, I was a really artistic person,
Mm.
so I just like doing a bunch of different things. My mom actually bought me the camera, and I would just take pictures of. I wasn't really like a photographer. I just did different shit to be creative because I
Yeah.
was just growing up, and that's kind of what I wanted to do. Yeah, but my dad is a photographer. It's just that's separate though. It's completely
So
separate.
you had to learn all that on your own.
I didn't. I don't even know that much.
Oh,
to be honest.
really?
I was just playing around, to be honest. Well, besides that, where I met you from was like SYKE.
Yeah.
So that was that during the beginning.
Yep, that was so that was probably like 2017ish, like right there,
I don't even
like
remember.
during the summertime.
It feels like forever ago.
Yeah, it was. It was about 2 years ago, and yeah, by that time, like I already had like somewhat of a name that I wanted in the city,
Mm-hmm.
as far as like just doing like basic shoots and everything. So at the time, I was thinking, let me do this for like the clothing brand, just so like I can have like clothing and like fashion basically behind. And I didn't even know anything really about like editing per se. I just
Mhm.
had presets basically, and I just like knew like, all right, let me drop down like the exposure or
Mhm.
like the shadows and stuff, but basically stuff you can do on your phone.
Yeah.
So what do you use for editing now that you've been in this for a while? Do you use like Lightroom, Photoshop?
So I started off with Lightroom, and then I learned that with Photoshop you can get more detailed in the work.
Yeah.
So, and I think I want to say like end of 2017, beginning of 2018, I switched over to Photoshop, and I was like, because I kept like going in and out, I was like, Photoshop's too hard. Like, let me just do what I know already with Lightroom and just stick with that. But I finally just committed to it and got into Photoshop and just stayed with that the whole time.
I feel like you've expanded a lot from the time I met you, because I was in that shoot.
Yeah.
But seeing your photos now, it's just like 10 times better. But how'd you get to meeting them, and what made you decide like they were the clothing brand that you wanted to work with? Well, then I wouldn't even call them a clothing brand. That was kind of the beginning of SYKE too.
Mhm.
Like they didn't really know what they wanted to do.
It
They were
was
doing
honestly
everything.
like an experience for like basically like a clothing street experience, I
Yeah.
would say. And just basically starting with that, I think I met JJ first, and then he like introduced me to like everyone else in the group,
Yeah.
just because he knew that they needed a photographer for everything.
Mhm.
And then I was already hanging out with him, so yeah, I was just doing that, and it was good while it lasted.
Why'd you
Like,
stop? Why'd you stop taking pictures with them?
Because it was like going back and forth. It's like I didn't have like the proper transportation just to go
Mhm.
back every week for meetings and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then it was just something I just grew out of, and I knew like if I stayed at this point, I wouldn't be able to do what I wanted with photography, as far as like doing everyone else at the same times. Like it would have been too cluttered.
So
for
you
me.
were kind of a member, more like a member of the SYKE team.
Yeah.
So you were working with them instead
Yeah,
of like
I was
them
basically,
hiring
like-
you or something like
Yeah,
that.
all the
Okay.
decisions, I was there,
Uh-huh.
like just putting my 2 cents in and everything like that.
Uh-huh. So recently, when did you kind of change your style?
I would say it was like February of 2017 is when
So like
I
during
finally,
that time.
yeah, so during that time, like February 2017, I was like, let me, because I was already doing like portraits of people, just like basic shots.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, I know for sure that I want to shoot for Vogue and Playboy. So let me try to do something that I don't see a lot of people doing, which is like the implied and like the implied nude and stuff like that. And then like all the lingerie shoots and stuff like that. Because at the time, it was probably like older guys that were like in their 30s, 40s and up that were doing it. And I used to see like on Facebook a lot of cases where the older guys would be like super creepy towards the girls. So I was like, well, let me start doing that and then like be respectful,
not be creepy
of it.
towards
Yeah. And it's just crazy how much like you don't like how much you respect like the models.
Yeah.
It goes a long way with like just getting like clients and everything like that, and just like your name period in the city.
Yeah, for well, during the beginning, like kind of when you switched your style up, I don't know what it is about Kansas City, but on Twitter it seems like all the photographers like hate each other. And it seemed like there was beef.
No, it's honestly, it was before Twitter. I feel like
really?
Twitter is like the safe haven. Even though I don't follow like photographers like that on Twitter, it's like it started with me on Instagram. Cause I would go to like meetups, and like everybody be like buddy and everything, and it was cool, like smooth selling. I was getting to know everyone, and then like they just hate like you. Basically, it's like
they hate the progress.
It's like a certain group that hates when you're doing, not per se like doing great, but voicing your opinion about like what goes on in the city. And that's like my main thing is like I don't talk much, but I'm definitely going to voice my opinion if something is like corrupt in a way. And that's what happened. I think it was 2017 or 2018 where I made a post on Instagram saying how I don't have any photographer friends. I just have like the model friends and everything like that. And how like everyone sticks to like their own cliques and don't really like expand from there. And once I made that post, like I had a couple photographers that like right now are like head of this certain group a lot of people at this point know that group.
You already really distinct.
Yeah, they like two of them legit was in my DMs like talking wet. I'm like, it's no point. Like all I'm making a statement about is how I don't have any photographer friends. How I want to.
I know exactly what group you're talking.
If everybody wasn't so clicked up, then I would be like, you would see my face around. So from that moment on, like, just people didn't. At least like photographers really didn't like really want to mess with me or anything like that.
It seems like every week on Twitter it's something new. Somebody's just like talking wet on Twitter, like they're in a fight, and I'm like, damn. I like honestly, somebody's probably not even worried about what you're doing or looking at what you're doing. People think they're copying each other. I'm
so glad like I separated my like how I act on Twitter from Instagram, because on Twitter like I'll talk dirty to anybody, no matter what.
I noticed like 2017, 2018, you would talk dirty back on Instagram.
Yeah, and I was like, this it's to the point
crazy.
Like people they will do that when they don't meet you. And then I'm the type of person. All right, well if you're gonna do this, I'm gonna make you know me. So I'm gonna pull up to anything that you got going on. So that's basically what I did. They had like this huge meetup at my homie's loft, and I was like, all right, let me pull up. Let everybody see me that was like talking down basically about me, and then I'm gonna be the nicest person, and you're gonna feel crappy about it.
Yeah, that's crazy, because I know exactly what group you're talking about, and I'm about to make a bold statement, but I think I sparked the idea for the group, because it was you were there that night or that day, you know who started the group too. You've met him before, but you don't know him like that.
Uh-huh.
I did a shoot, and I had I tried to invite a few photographers to all take the shoot. It was the day where I was covered in glitter
Yeah.
at my dad's studio.
Yeah, I remember that.
So the guy who started the group, he was one of the photographers, and I was doing this thing where I was just trying to get a bunch of creative people together, blah blah blah, and then literally the next week, he started a group that would get creative people together, and I was like, well, I started this group, so I'll just be the OG. It's all right. But how do you meet how did you get to meet the models that you usually take pictures of?
Honestly, I would follow certain girls on Instagram that I wanted to shoot with, and at that time I knew for sure all right, my skill isn't that good yet. Let me just work up to it with her friend group. So basically, my main goal was, let me shoot the main girls that's I see in her pictures or anything like that. Let me shoot with them first, get that credibility and my name out there, and to the point where that certain model would reach out to me, or I'll be able to reach out to them easily, just like that.
Is that still what you're doing today, or do people just come to you now?
It's honestly got a lot of people come to me now.
Yeah.
And then with me, it's just certain people. Before I didn't have this attitude where I just shoot with anybody, no matter what was going on and everything like that. But now it's I really respect my own time and what I'm doing with this. So it's it's a lot of people who who I don't want to shoot with, and who I'm picky about the look and everything that I want specifically. Because I used to just shoot freely, with no care in the world, spend money on studios and stuff like that. But now it's I have to manage my money a lot now, and specifically for my portfolio to send out to these specific companies what I want to shoot.
Yeah, that's kind of, I understand what you mean. It's a business move.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what we're doing as well, because we don't want to just have anybody on the podcast. We want to have people on the podcast that we kind of see their progress and see that there's a potential for them to get somewhere.
I would say, what's your schedule look like during the week? Are you just booked with shoots, or?
Honestly, in KC, I'm not. It's I put out posts and everything. With KC and being from here and living here, it's so many people, they see you shoot with a lot of people, and they automatically think they're not paying for shoots. And so it's so hard getting people to commit to booking shoots and everything like that. So I have to go out my way just to get the ideas that I want to do. I just go out my way and then just pick certain models to do everything. And it was super it was tough because I didn't want to have that reputation where I would turn down people who didn't book, because it was two instances where I had some flack that I was shooting too many white models, but at the time white people were paying me, so I was I made a post about that too. I was don't get mad at me that white people are paying me and I'm just shooting them, because I would shoot with the black models, but at the time the ones that were actually wanting to model and everything like that, they were talking down on me for not shooting with more black people. So I would just go out my way and just find people who weren't into modeling that were black, and I was I'm gonna shoot with you and then forget all of them, and then now they're gonna wish they want to shoot with me. So.
That reminds me of valet, people tipping.
Yeah. Yeah, we both work valet, but there's you know who's gonna tip, so it's kind of like a connection. You know who's actually gonna go through and pay for your shoot.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, and I wanted to I honestly wanted to have the like black models on my page and like of all like ethnicities and stuff like that, because I already had like a good category of like white, Hispanic. I had a couple Asian, so like I had like basically everyone on that chart, and just the black people who weren't really. They were wanting to shoot, but for free. And at the time, like I was working, and I needed to like pay like rent or something like that, and like bills and stuff. So like I literally couldn't shoot with them for free how I wanted to, and I don't know. I just took it to the chin like that, and
are you working now, like on top of
I actually
photography?
I actually quit my my job July 15th, and then I just went out to LA and just like every time.
Really? I noticed you went to LA.
Yeah, I've been to LA 4 times in the last 12 months. Like, and then every time I go, I'm fully booked the whole week. So like I'm just trying to make that move to LA, honestly.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
So
Yeah,
what's
it's
it
super
like?
expensive.
What's the like some of the challenges you face with booking people in LA, or is it like super easy with social media?
It's super easy with social media, just because a lot of people, it's basically like hearsay, she say. So basically my friends out there who I shoot with, I'll just go out there just because I don't see them as often. So whenever I go out there, I'll shoot with them, and then they'll let their friends know, and I'm like, and then they'll hit me up, and I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll maybe like discount prices just because I'm out of town, just so I can have like that like clientele that full week. But honestly, people will pay the full price out of state. So and then for like my quality too, I feel like in LA is like if I moved there, it'd be like right up there, kind of like right underneath like the popular people out there. But I know for sure like all like the YouTube influencers and stuff like that, they need someone like me who like better their brand. So that's what I've been working on, honestly, going out there.
What do you think is kind of the next step to bring you on a different level?
Honestly, next step is like being more creative, because I'm just like I've been just limiting myself to like, all right, let me stay at this pocket, but not really like go out of the way out of that, just be like creative and stuff like that, and like actually like creating a shoot from scratch. Like right now it's been all from like inspiration and everything like that, but I've really like a couple shoots that I've had that've like been kind of big here that got a lot of attention have been from scratch. So I just got to figure out like, all right,
what shoots were those?
Sit out. It's usually shoots with Kelsey on Instagram. It's the Kitty's Titties. So her like basically she's like my muse. Like I've been shooting with her since 2017, because she was the first one who did the lingerie shoots with me, and then like basically from those pictures got like a lot of recognition from like outside magazine sources and stuff like that, and like social media groups. And in the city, like people were like, all right, I want to do lingerie shoots and like shoots like that are like provocative in a way, but I have to like trust the photographer. And that's like I found out quick, like that's a huge thing in KC. It's like trusting the photographer. So that's basically like what I'm working on, is like get my name out there, and then being more like people know like I'm a safe photographer. Because recently a photographer that I was like looking up to got slammed in the social media about how he was like abusive, and then like trying to get girls to send him nudes
was
and
that
stuff
like
that.
Recent?
Yep.
Like within the past
it was
3 to 6 months.
Marcus Hyde.
Oh, okay.
He was the one
I'll
who
have to block that name.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I don't know, because if
he was the one shooting with like Ariana Grande, Kim Kardashian, Kanye, and everything.
He ruined his career.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And it's crazy because he was out like almost a year on life support because he like races like street cars and everything like that.
Mhm.
And he got in an accident, so he was like out of a coma. And then as soon as he comes back to social media, like everybody's like just down on him. I was like, well, it's good to expose him.
It is
because like he had like a huge following.
Yeah.
And like getting rich off of being a creep.
Dang, that's crazy. What are your plans with the magazine that you're working with? Or can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, so I created it basically just to. I wanted to basically just be like almost like a photo book of mine, but like bringing other photographers and stuff into it, just because I see myself doing photography for a long time.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, I'm like, I just want that to be a hobby, and then I just want to like travel and do stuff.
So do you have like writers for this magazine, or is it just more?
Nah, yeah, I've been doing articles myself.
Oh, okay,
yeah, so whenever I have time, I just like figure out like a hot topic, basically, just write about it, and it's been working out so far. Like with me being not so consistent, but always giving it attention to where people will go to it and follow.
Yeah. Have you put out your first one yet, or are you waiting?
Nah, it's still like all like digital on social media.
Okay.
But once I do that, I want to do my photo book first, and then maybe like little desktop like I think they're called zines, little booklets and stuff with photos in them. So I want to just start that collection, and then from that move on to the magazine once I have like a steady income, because I always want to like pay people for any work that they want to do for me. So that's really
then
big
you
with
could
me.
get paid for your work, and then you could pay them.
Yeah, especially if they're like submitting photos, because I know a lot of like magazines, they'll charge you to shoot submit your photos, or they'll be free and they just pick them like that. I want to be able to like, people put their like time and energy into these shoots just so they can submit them specifically to magazines. So if I can give like a incentive to like people who are like consistently like shooting for the magazine, then I'm gonna do that.
When would you say, like, was there a specific photo that you knew, like, yo, I can do this for a living?
It was the shoot with Kelsey, the lingerie shoot, and then once I seen how it got on like on these Instagram accounts that were like 100,000 plus followers, stuff like that, and like me picking up traffic from it, I was like, oh yeah, this is like it right here. Like this is definitely what I want to do. And I was kind of like still scared to even shoot like lingerie stuff. And
why?
Just because like it's like a precious moment like to the model. Just because like anything that makes them uncomfortable, it's a wrap from there. Like the shoot's over, you get a bad name if you did anything, even if you didn't mean to. Like if they feel uncomfortable, then it's a wrap. And that's why I make sure like I'm like, before I even do shoots, like the nude shoots and like lingerie and everything, I kind of like prep it in the DMs or like through text. I'm like, if you're not 100% like comfortable with it, we can change the idea. Like I won't do this, because I hate going into a shoot where like
the girl,
she feels like oh, let's just change it last minute while we're like mid shoot, which I'll do, but I wish I would have had like a heads up just to like plan it out better. And then I have like in the past I've had models where like they would tell me they're comfortable and then come to the shoot like super wasted. Like, so I gotta shoot with them like either like super high, super drunk, and like that. So I'm like, that was kind of like a rule for me to models, is like, I don't want to if you're not 100% comfortable and you feel like you have to like drink or anything to shoot, I don't want to shoot with you.
Yeah.
That's
like,
crazy.
I'll just cut it off right
I would have never expected people would come to a shoot like super high or super drunk.
No, they do.
Are there any
because
like crazy
they
stories?
feel like
That would give
they
them
feel
confidence.
they feel like they have more confidence.
I don't know about high,
but honestly, like it doesn't, and you can
Yeah.
tell through the camera, and like they're like slow to respond to like posing and everything like that. So like, I knew early like, no, I can't do this.
Mm-hmm. So when you quit your job recently,
Where were you working?
Yeah, where were you working?
I was working down at Express on the plaza.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was there for a year and like 7 months.
And then what made you just recently say I'm done?
Honestly, it was my homie Easy. He quit his job to do his music full on. So like, I've been like ever since probably like 2017, 2018.
Mm-hmm.
After I like got out of the SYKE brand,
Mm-hmm.
that clothing and everything, and started doing like club photography. I met back up with him through that, and I knew him since middle school. So like we were already kind of close. So once we got together again, he was doing his music and he needed like a visuals artist, basically like shoot his like any like video promos or photos like that. So
Yeah.
I was like, I know you and like we're super close, so I'm gonna be like full on with you, like whatever you need. So once he said he was quitting his, I was like, it's about that time. Like I have like a good name between like Missouri, Kansas, and LA, to where if I did go back and forth, I would have like a steady clientele,
Mm-hmm.
like enough just to have money to like pay bills here and there.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, it was solely off of him. Like once he did it, I was like, all right, you do it, I'm gonna do it with you, so you're not like alone on
That's
this.
cool. Yeah.
What I'm interested in is like your first like lingerie or like nude shoot. Like
Mhm.
what was that like? Even hitting the person up, because I feel like that would be kind of weird for doing that the first time.
Honest, I let her know straight away. It was like, it's my first time doing this, so like, and it was our first time meeting that day too. So it's super cool like that. She was like so chill and everything, and like we hit it off great, and like we're like super good friends now too. Like frequently we always shoot, and it does like numbers on social media, and I was just told her like, it's my first time doing this. Like I'm not really sure how I'm gonna go with it, but I want to try it, and I know it's something that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're willing to do like these ideas, then let's do it. And she was down for it, and like the guy, my homie Chadwick, who had Wickstock,
Mm-hmm.
I was I'm pretty sure I was the first photographer there, and that was the first shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And the shoot went on a magazine, so I just kept going there, like shooting and everything like that. And honestly, like with that shoot, like we both learned like it's something that we're comfortable doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I always like, till this day, I recently got it too, is like guys would hit me up, or like even my homies would be like, how can you even do it? Like the girl's like naked in front of you, and you're taking their picture, and they're like comfortable with you. And I'm always telling them like I'm, first of all, I'm not a creep, so it doesn't faze me. Like whether they're not clothed or anything. It's like I'm so like tunnel vision with the idea and wanting to have the greatest content like to put out. Is like I honestly don't even remember that they're nude until like I'm editing the photos. I'm like, all right, this is a nude shoot. Like let me take this professional. And I know a lot of people who I've heard stories who they do these shoots, and it's a photographer that's here that I've heard about, where he does kind of like shoots like that, not as much, but he always like takes shots with the models, and I'm just not about that. Like it's like Missouri.
I think
is
I've heard
huge
of a photographer who shoots girls in lingerie, but he pays them.
See, I wanted to do that, but I was broke, so I couldn't.
But I heard he was kind of
so
creepy at the same time too.
Yeah.
So.
So with that, I was like, it's like I'm not with like, especially like the drinking just to get like that liquid courage basically, and like you're gonna be sloppy anyway.
Sloppy.
And then just feeling like, I feel like if you do that, you're trying to hit on the girls eventually. And like with me, I have this rule where if I shoot with you, or I'm basically like pursuing to shoot with you, I never hit on that girl.
Mm-hmm.
I can't at all if I shoot with you. So it has to be someone outside of who I shoot with, or the girl has to like try to hit on me or something like that. But I strictly like, that's what keeps me like grounded with like being respectful and having like that reputation to where I'm the comfortable photographer to go to if you want to do stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I hate when I get the questions like, well, if it was me shooting the pictures, I wouldn't be able to control myself. Like, first of all, you sound like R. Kelly from there.
Oh my god!
From the jump.
Like, yeah, and then like as soon as like you get one bad like basically like a Yelp review through social media, then it's a wrap for your career. So I'm so glad like now on, and I'm gonna keep it like that. Like I don't have any instances like that to where like I'm like physical body like basically like having a mind of its own when I see like a new girl or anything like that. It's like you have to be like strong minded to like keep yourself like under control and stuff like that. And then just think about the work. Like it's more beneficial to me to have the best photos than to see a naked chick.
Yeah.
And I like 2018 I was seeing like constant like nude women. I'm like, this doesn't faze me. Like I just need to get this work out because nobody else is doing it like at a high caliber as me. So let me just stick with it and just be great at it. And it still irks my nerves to this day when I get those questions from dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
Is R. Kelly like free? Is he?
I don't know
Did
what's
he
going
beat
on with
his
that.
case?
Oh no, they got him locked up.
Oh, he's locked up.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
I think the
Shout out to R. Kelly though. He got some good music. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm sorry, I
But-
can't stop listening to his music. It's just
It's good, but like you got, it's separate from the person now. That's crazy. I noticed you started trying to sell prints now too.
yeah.
And the models were all completely fine.
Yeah,
with that?
I'll like before I even post shots on Instagram, like I always like reach out to the models. Hey, can I post this? And like especially like with nude photos, I know that I can't post like on Instagram like uncensored, so I have to censor it. But I still make sure even if the photo is censored, like, am I okay to post this and anything like? I do that 100% of the time, and usually I get models who are okay with it. And then, like, later on down the road, they're like, oh, well, because of this career or something, could you, like, take it down? I have no problem doing that. Like, I get that it may hinder, like, your career or anything. So, especially, like, the models who are teachers, like, sometimes they don't want to have, like, that link so their students can look at those photos. So, I'll just archive them or just delete them, whether...
I never even thought of that.
you have like
Yeah.
a huge checklist from like starting the shoot to ending the shoot, like even after it's done,
Yeah.
to where you take down a photo. I think that's gonna like take you a long way. Just like making sure you're like your client is very comfortable.
Yeah, because I'm like super like into organization and like just because I feel like because with me, like after like doing all the ideas and concepts and everything, and like it's come to shoot day and I meet the model, like I spend 5 to 10 minutes like still kind of like setting up minor stuff, but I get to know the model again just because I only talk to them through social media. So once I take that 5 to 10 minutes to meet them and like get to know them, they're more comfortable with me. And I can like, once I know they're comfortable, I get more comfortable. But to this day, I still get nervous during the nude shoots because I know like any like uncomfortable
anything you're good at, you're gonna get nervous.
Yeah.
When you're put on the
And
spot like that.
I just want to get like the perfect shots. Like I'm like so particular about like even like like I'll even go over time with studios. I'm like, I'll pay this extra money just to have more time. Just because, like, if I'm not satisfied with it yet, then I'm gonna keep shooting till I'm satisfied. And
Do you do video at all?
I started out doing videos when I was doing like the SYKE brand stuff. Like I was doing videos here and there, and then once I started posting them, I started getting like rappers and stuff wanting me to do music videos. I was like, all right, nope, I'm cutting this off now. I don't want to shoot any rappers like videos at all. Like basically like the fake pro-black people and rappers are who like I try to stay away from as far as like photography, because like they're like your biggest critics, especially like me being black. Like they feel like they're more comfortable to come to me for like the services like that, but they abuse the power basically. So like especially like with rappers and stuff, like I go through the checklist of like concepts and like how do you want your photos to look, what do you want the setting to be. It was like, I don't know, I just want you to take good pictures of me and I'm gonna bring my homies and guns. So I'm like so I did a couple of those, and after that I was like, any other rappers that like come to me, I just immediately just give them my price list. I was like, if you go through this and you still want to shoot, kudos to you, but if our concepts are like not meeting to like me being comfortable with it, then I'm not gonna do it. I'm a reference like another photographer that I'm like cool with, just to give them like that service and the money from that.
Yeah, it's cool.
So I never put myself in like predicaments like that. I hate doing that, because I like when I was shooting like these day parties and stuff in 2018. It was an instance at in Westport at Californo's where it was at a day party. It was like the third one, and it was like the biggest one they had. So it's like midsummer, and it's like maybe like 30 minutes before it's like about to shut down and everything. And even from the beginning of that day party, I was like, it's something odd about it, just because like I'm coming up here with like my backpack full of equipment, but they're not checking me. So in my head the whole time I'm thinking, all right, they're not checking me, let me walk around to see like as people are coming in, if they're still like not checking people. And that whole time they weren't checking people, so like I kind of like forgot about it, but once I like remembered, I was uneasy. So like it was this certain, so 30 minutes before it shut down, I was in this spot like opposite of the DJ booth. And then for some reason, every time I see this one like hood rapper locally here in KC at any party, something happens. Whether it's him that like is involved, or someone else that like he's not connected to, but every time I like see him, and like we literally like lock eyes every time. So I don't know why, but every time I see him, like stuff happens in a like a bad negative way. So like once he's coming in, because they have like 2 entrances for people to come in. So once he comes in, I just immediately move towards the DJ, right behind the DJ booth. And like literally like 10-15 minutes later, we hear like this loud pop, and we thought it was a firecracker, and turns out like once it happened, maybe like 20 seconds later, like once people started seeing what was happening, they just started rushing out of there, out of California. It's like everywhere. And like later to find out, it was another photographer there who I used to see recently, maybe like starting like 2 weeks ago from that day party, just coming in, just getting shots for himself and stuff like that. And it turns out he wasn't even involved. So he was in the spot, the same exact spot that I was standing in right before right after I left. Yeah. So from that day, like once I And I knew exactly once they said, "Oh, it was the photographer who got shot." Everybody was like looking for me because I stayed a little bit, but because everyone was kind of like in like a scared state, like they didn't really like think like, all right, who was it? They're just trying to get out. And then later on, once they found out it was a photographer, they were like, I got messages and stuff like that.
Oh, they
like,
were worried about you.
Yeah, and
Did that guy
The
end
rapper
up
didn't-
dying?
yeah, he
Oh, really?
so it was a fight between a guy and a girl. Like I don't know what like the girl did, but he was trying to aim at her. He ended up
You trying to
it
shoot
grazed
a girl?
her. Yeah,
That's
it grazed her, and it hit him in the chest. And then like that was like my first time like seeing someone die, basically.
That's
And then like
insane.
after that, I was kind of like scarred a little bit,
Mhm.
and I just became numb to like situations from there. Like now, like my approach to like life is like anything can happen, so I'm just gonna
Mhm.
take it like that. Like whatever happens, happens.
Literally, that movie I was telling you guys to watch, like, changed my perception on life. It's called Snowpiercer.
Mhm.
Have you seen that, or have you heard of it?
Probably
It's
not.
with the dude who's Captain America. I don't know his name. Do you know his name?
No. I know what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah, it's with him, and it's just the world freezes over, and then there's a whole bunch of people. The only leftover people are on a train, and it's like a single train. But you got to remember, there's classes in life.
Mhm.
So on the train, there's classes. At the end of the train is all the poor people, and at the beginning of the train is like the richest man. So the poor people are revolting to get to the front of the train,
Yeah.
but like basically at the end you realize you're all on the same train.
Yeah.
And like I definitely connect that to the real world, because we're all like trying to get to the
Front of the train.
yeah, the front of the train, but the guy at the front of the train was by himself, like he was
Yeah.
alone, and he had to make sure everybody on the train was okay. And then once they got up there, like they ended up, or the dude who was kind of like the main character, basically blew up the train, because like they're like, what's the point? But in like reference to what you were saying,
Mhm.
like you see death in Kansas City all the time. Like it's been happening a lot recently. And I
Yeah.
think I heard that Kansas City is like we're number 1 in deaths this year already.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. But like I don't know, it's just crazy. That made me think about life so much, because we're all really trying to rush to get somewhere, but really you just got to make whatever you got the best you can make it.
Yeah, because ever since I got out of college, and I got out of college 2015,
Mhm.
and since then, like every year I have like 2 to 4 people that were like super close that I grew up with, like get killed or die every
Yeah.
year.
That's crazy.
And I
Yeah.
recently had like a
We've
couple
had a few,
people.
too.
It was one of this. It was a girl that I was super close with, me and my brothers, and she was. It was the incident where it was that the driver that drove into Longview Lake.
Mhm.
I think
Wait,
that
I
was,
never heard of that.
I think
No,
that
I
was
didn't hear about
earlier
that
this
either.
year. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was. They drove into Longview Lake, and I found out like it was her, and they were calling like a parent suicide and everything like that. So, like I take like suicide like super serious, just because like October last year, like that was like the super hardest like time for me,
Mhm.
like going through it. So
For what?
just for like just figuring out what I want to do in like
Mhm.
my photography, because I was like for like a while, like the end of 2018, like I wasn't doing like enough, I feel like,
Mhm.
and I wasn't like getting like numbers, and that was like the first like red flag, like just worried about numbers on social media.
Mhm.
Like it, just because like I got into it to where it was first starting out, and people like first started knowing like, all right, numbers can do stuff for you,
Mhm.
like likes and everything on social media. So
yeah.
once that like got to me in October, like I was like it was this one instance in October where I was going to work, and it was probably not even like 5 minutes like after I left my house, I was like, all right, like this honestly, like this is not my day, and like I was like so close to like just veering off in the next lane and then just like ending it. So from that point, like I just recently, like I would have like those spurts where I like super depressed one day, and so like I just started like keeping a list of like specific dates of like whenever I feel like I just want to like end it all, and I just list those dates in my phone. Like
it's good
just
that
try to like expand them so they're not so close to each other.
I think it's good that you actually quit your job, because once you do that, you can completely focus on your own business, your own brand. Because like we were talking about earlier, my dad's a photographer, so he definitely, like, of course he started from somewhere. So like growing up, we would go like to different lofts in Kansas City, and then slowly like I was able to visually see a better loft, and a nice apartment, a house, a nice house. Like your brand will slowly expand, and it's kind of like a crazy thing, because first he started as a photographer, and then he expanded to having an event space out here. So just working on yourself and getting that straight away is probably a really good idea. And especially if you know that's what you want to do and what you want to have as a hobby and work from that, I think that's really good.
What's it like for you now that I don't know, what's it like now when you post a picture? Like if it doesn't do the numbers that you want, are you still as stressed out about it?
No, I forget it. Once I post a photo, I forget about it. Like
that's
honestly,
good.
like if I get the attention from it, then I get the attention. But honestly, I'm moving on to the next thing. My only concern is posting the best photo for my page. So if like someone randomly, because I always taken in my mind, like I always believe that it only takes one person just to see or like hear what you're doing, and then they can change your life. So like basically if that one person just sees my page, no matter like what numbers I'm doing or the followers that I have, like they'll be like wanting to hire me or give me an opportunity to do something bigger. So I just, at this point, I don't care about likes and stuff like that. I just worry about like posting the best photos.
I was listening to Snoop Dogg's little podcast, and he said something so true. I was listening to this.
Did you
yesterday.
just say Snoop Dogg's podcast?
Yeah, Snoop Dogg has. He just smokes on there with people.
He was like,
how?
I never even heard.
It's just like a focus thing. How can I look at my highlights when
cool.
I got a game tomorrow? So.
Yeah. Oh, you mean what Snoop Dogg said?
Yeah, that's what he said. So like that's how I feel. Like you feel about your pictures. Like you can't even focus on the likes because you're focused on something else.
Yeah, because once I got out of like that like depression like state, I was like, all right, let me just snap out of it. Let me just start taking photos and just doing this stuff, because that's when like it clicked in my head, like people are gonna book you for stuff they want to do, but if you don't take time for yourself to do like the concepts and stuff as an artist that you want to do, then you're just going to basically be ran by the clients and basically just have like a clientele based like portfolio instead of like a personal portfolio that you like shoots that you come up with or get inspo from and just go based off of you liking it. It's like and that's a lot of times how I just do my shoots now. Is like if a client comes to me wanting to book, like it's usually at the point now where it fits my page, even if I don't post it, but I'll still like it's like easy on me to like get my creative side out, just because like I'll have a passion in what the ideas that they have for me. So it works out good right now.
Yeah, being different is definitely probably the most important thing to
because that was because I got flack from that before from a homie. Like we were homies, and then like something happened to where he thought that I copied a shoot from him, So it was that whole like thing. Like I had a couple people like, oh, how dare you like copy someone's shoot and just like make it black and white just to like make it your own thing. Like I'm trying to tell them like I never seen the shoot that they did, and so like
what was the shoot, or what was the one that
it was
you
a
did?
laundromat shoot, the most basic thing
well,
like everybody was
yeah.
doing
Everyone,
at the time. Yeah, but the only two good people who were like had the best photos at the time doing it were me and that homie and like we were doing that, and like it was just like this whole thing. And afterwards, like probably like a year later, like I met back up and was like, we like I apologize if you think that I copied you.
I apologize if you think.
Yeah, because I don't, because I
was gonna get someone
I didn't
mad.
like it was literally from scratch. Like the model, she gave me the ideas that whole time that she wanted to shoot. So like I'm like, all right, well it's a laundromat. Like there's only certain things that you can do, like open the doors,
look
get in the
through
laundry
the door,
cart and stuff
sit
like
on
that.
yeah.
That's all it was, and I got flack for that. And I was like, let me just like if my mindset like back in October was like during that time when I was getting that flack, like it would have been super bad for me. So I'm glad like I was strong at that moment. It's like, well, I know for sure that it was my own idea, so I'm gonna let you like cool off for a minute, and then from then that's when I just started doing like my own shoots and like separate myself. Because like with the group we were talking about now, that that local group of people, because they're so clicked up with each other, and they always like shoot each other, I don't think they expand into doing stuff themselves. Because it was a time last year I was seeing like people in that clique, I couldn't tell whose photos were whose because they were all looking the same. Yeah, the same, like basically like the same style and same concept and colors
personality
too. Yeah. I'm like it.
Yeah.
At a point you just gotta like just go outside of that. That's why like I just started traveling.
It seems like that, like having photographer friends would like discourage you more than help you, like in that case.
Yeah, it's, you have to know specifically which ones, because with them I feel like
it literally
though,
I think it literally has to be your friend. Like it has to be an acquaintance, like someone that you've been around. It can't be just like a peer and then you're just around all your peers. Yeah,
because two of my homies now that do videos and photography, Nigel and my homie Cortez, like they literally like they knew like, okay, yeah, me, I'm already like basically pretty high in KC as far as like content with photography, and they basically was like, we know you're like at this point, we're trying to get to that point and like past that. And I'm always the person who's like, whoever I can teach and like give like game to, I always want them to do more than me, because I already know I'm gonna be all right with whatever I do, but I always want them to like, oh, if I get a client and I know for sure that I'm gonna need help, I'm gonna go to them and then just break bread like that with them. And so like with that, they knew from jump like, all right, we already know like our content isn't as good as you right now, but we still gonna be like cool with you. And me being a cool person, accepting that, I'm like, I'll never have like that big head to like I'm the biggest in KC. And I've made comments like that before, just because like I knew like how people were bickering back and forth and like getting into it, like, oh well, like just getting in photographer beefs, and I was already like separated from that. I was like, well, I'm not getting in any beefs with nobody locally, like, and then my content is still high and people, it's a high demand for me. So I just voiced it, was like, I do feel like I'm one of the like best photographers in KC, and even saying one of, that puts me in a group still. And people still don't like that because they feel like, oh, you're being big-headed about it, like, be more humble. And I had this girl get in my DMs talking about that, another photographer here, say like, oh, you need to be more humble. about it. I'm like, if you knew like exactly what I came from to this point now, like I'm just like bigging myself up. Like I'm just celebrating myself because I don't expect other people to celebrate me.
Too.
Yeah, I don't have that. I don't want people to like celebrate. Like even when people like in my DMs like saying, "Oh, like your work is so great. Like I just love it and everything like that." Just a simple message like that. I don't get uncomfortable. It's like, all right, I accept it and everything like that. I'm like I just tell them like I got so much more work to do. Like I feel like I'm trash right now. Like, I still think I'm trash with like the stuff that I'm doing because I get to a certain point where I learn it and then now I'm just stagnant at like, all right, like what else am I gonna learn to like improve this? So like I've been stagnant for like a couple months now. I'm like, oh dude, I'm so trash right now. Like even though like I have like these great shoots and I love the shoots, like I love the photos, but I want to do more. So like that's why like I tell people all the time like it doesn't cost that much to get a plane ticket. Honestly, like just leave the
Shout
city.
out to Spirit.
Because the more,
Oh God.
even Southwest, like I going to LA, it was just my third trip to LA. I paid $70 not round trip, but like going there and then maybe like $100 to come back, like $170 total for that. And I always go in a group of people, so I always tell people like just leave, honestly, because you stay in KC, you're gonna stay in KC forever.
That's
and
true.
you're gonna be miserable, and then you're gonna turn into that photographer who's always beefing with the other local photographers.
Yeah,
So
that's kind of sad. On that note, to kind of sum this up, I really appreciate your photography and everything.
I appreciate it.
If you ever like go anywhere and like someone asked or saw this interview or anything, you could just let them know to hit us up. We're always open to have other people that you know on this interview. I know you said Easy. It was your friend since middle school. Even the models, if they want to, because we interview everybody, as long as we think they're gonna expand themselves. But it was great having you on.
Yeah,
No, I appreciate it.
If you have anything you want to like promote, you can go ahead and like shout out your Instagram or anything like that.
Instagram at Monte_Law. If you want to see kind of like a outside of like photography and everything and like my mindset, you can follow me on Twitter at Raging_Rayshon, RACHON on Twitter. And other than that, like people would never see me out, so if you see me out, feel like that's a privilege for you.
Too many people in this coop. I wanna go like Kirk Cobain's. I wanna go where things don't change. Grandpa 10 for the